Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big exciting day in the kitchen. It's fall, it's harvest time. You're in southern Italy, you're going through the garden. You're like, man, I'm hungry. You know what I mean? I'm looking to eat something. And you're looking at one of those puppies right there, like a big squash. And you're like, wow, that would go really good with pasta. And you know what? It does. So today we're gonna make pasta with butternut squash. So let's talk about pasta really quick, real briefly. So today I'm gonna use a colazione, which is it's a pasta. When you look at this, it's gonna look like a colazione means to collect. So if you were to grab a bunch of papers and collect them, so that's why the pasta gets that name. You see how it looks like a roll, almost like a scroll of papers. This is a great pasta. Cavatelli would be great. Farfalle would be great, which are like the bow ties. What's really cool about pasta, the name of pasta always means something in Italian. It has a historical relevance. And the shape of pasta is always going to have something to do with the type of sauce. So ingredient number one is 1 pound of pasta of your choice. I'm going to use colazione. Hey, how you doing? Number two, you're going to need butternut squash. You're only going to want ideally around 2 pounds. So Jim, my neighbor, brought us a, look at that baby. Now that's a squash, you know what I'm saying? So this is a little over 4 pounds, so I'm only gonna want half of this. Next, guys, you're gonna need goat cheese. So I've got here about 8, maybe 10 ounces of goat cheese. Next, we're gonna use 2 tablespoons of mascarpone cheese, one of my favorite cheeses. We're gonna need some Parmesan Reggiano. Look at that sucker right there. Isn't that just fantastic? Let's be honest, wouldn't you just wanna bite into that puppy, right? That is, oh, the aroma of the true Parmesan Reggiano, just fantastic. We're gonna use about a half to 3/4 of a cup of shredded Parmesan Reggiano or Parmesan, depending on where you are and what you can get. Now you're going in the garden and you're gonna go, wow, I need some herb. I need something with some aroma. And one of the most aromatic herbs there is basil. Oh, I mean, you just scream for pesto when you smell that, the aroma. Gosh, that is good. Now, I like in this dish to use shallots over a traditional onion. So you're gonna need 3 good size, medium-sized shallots. Now, we wanna pair garlic with those shallots. So I've got a bulb of garlic here, but they're really small. So I'm gonna use traditionally like a medium-sized clove of garlic. We're gonna use 2, maybe 3 cloves of garlic, just depending on the size. We don't want the garlic to overpower it. You're gonna need some salt. So today we're gonna use a pink Himalayan. It's briny, earthy. As I always tell you guys, pink is sexy. I love pink. And just a tip on the salt. Remember, our Parmigiano Reggiano has salt, and so does our goat cheese, and we're gonna salt our water for the pasta. So we wanna just be very mindful of adding salt. We want to add just a little bit as we're cooking through. We're always going to need some fresh ground pepper. Now remember, always go with fresh ground. As soon as you grind pepper, it dries the oils out, loses a lot of its punch, a lot of that delicious flavor. Last, guys, we're going to need some olive oil. So it's an Italian dish, so I want Italian olive oil. I want something what? I want it grassy, earthy, peppery, something delicious, extra virgin, something really good quality. Where would I go? Oh, I know. Hey, anybody visiting our channel for the first time? We own a farm in Italy, and we co-op with a whole group of farms in Puglia, which is just above the hill, just beautiful area of Italy. Some of the best olive oil extra virgin in the world comes from that region. I have 2 boys, Vito and Joe. I named the company after my 2 boys. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, wow, I would love to get my hands on some of that olive oil. You can. Today's your lucky day. So just hit the link above or below, and it'll bring you right to the website, Cooking Italian with Joe, and just click buy it now, and we will drop ship you a few bottles right to your front doorstep. When I look at that, I always think of being in Italy, so I think of it as taking a trip to Italy right in a bottle. All right, guys, let's start having some fun. Let's start cooking. First step you gotta do, you gotta get that oven hot. So about 450, 475 degrees. Get that middle shelf ready to go. So preheat it, and then we're gonna start prepping our butternut squash. So fun, but not so fun, you need a peeler. I love this little peeler. This thing is like cheap, but man, this thing works better than any peeler I've ever used. So I gotta peel this, or we're gonna use half of it. Okay guys, the butternut squash is done. It's peeled. Now I'm gonna take the top off. I'm gonna cut it in half, split it right down the middle. Oh my God, is that beautiful or what? Just gorgeous. And now what I need to do is clean the inside of the butternut squash. So I'm just take a spoon, scrape the inside of the butternut squash. Now I need to cube it. I need to cut it up, just cut it in manageable pieces. Cut the top, cut it in thirds, which is perfect. And then I'm going to cut it in cross sections because I'm looking for small little cubes. Oh yeah, that's perfect. And we want them all about the same size. Okay, butternut squash is done. It's cut up. I'm going to go ahead and throw it in a bowl. Now I've got my shallot. So I'm going to peel them, cut the top and the bottom off the shallot. And then I'm going to cut the shallot in half. And what I'm looking for is some body to the shallot. So I want to cut them in like small little slices, small little rings. And it's such an elegant flavor. And that shallot now is going to be just a nice little caramelized flavor, a little bit of deliciousness. I got to get the garlic done. I got to peel it. I'm going to smack it, peel the skin. Then I'm going to cut it very similar to like the shallot, so thin and easy. I just want a small little piece of caramelized garlic, and I'm going to go ahead and throw that right in the bowl along with my squash and my shallots. I need some olive oil, Vito and Joe's obviously, about 3-4 tablespoons. Give it a good stir. I want to coat everything, shallots, onion, squash. That way everything sticks. So I got about a half of a teaspoon of salt, my sexy salt obviously, and then pepper. I want 1 whole teaspoon of pepper, fresh ground always, and that's going to be just delicious. It's going to give you a little heat, give it a good stir. Now with the oil, everything's going to stick, which is the benefit of that olive oil. Now I want to make life easy for you guys, so I'm going to take a cookie sheet, I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper, and I'm going to dump my squash and all its deliciousness all across the parchment paper. And then what I'm going to do is spread it out. I want it spread out evenly so that it cooks evenly, and it's going to brown and caramelize everything. Now I'm going to throw it in the oven, 425 for 20 minutes. A couple of tips that make this come out perfect for you guys as far as your timing is concerned. I got my squash in the oven, and it's been about 10 minutes. If you remember, it's 20 minutes, so it's about halfway there. I've got my pasta pot on a rapid boil at this point. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw my pasta in my salted pasta water, because that'll take about 10 minutes. That way, when this is done, my pasta's done, and we're gonna marry all our flavors along with our cheeses. A couple other important tips that make this come out fantastic. There's a red subscribe button down there, and there's a notification bell. So when you guys click those, I can hear it right now, click, click, perfect job. When you guys click those, it makes you a member of the channel. So I'll tell you what, any recipes, blogs, any trips to Italy, everything will come to your notification box. And I'll tell you what, it means a lot to me when you subscribe to the channel, become a member, and hey, makes you part of the family. You know what I'm saying? As far as the olive oil goes, wait, I can literally hear it being shipped to your house as we speak. I'm gonna take my pound of pasta, pop it right in the water. As soon as you get it in the hot water, stir it, and continue to do that through those first few minutes. The next thing I gotta do is roast my walnuts. So I'm just gonna take a cast iron pan, put the pan on medium heat, just equally spread the walnuts, and then keep an eye on it. It'll actually be about 5 to 10 minutes. Right while my pasta's cooking, those will be done. Guys, while my walnuts are roasting and my pasta's cooking, I went ahead and took the basil leaves. And again, I'm looking for a rough chop. So a lot of times you can tear these, which you'll see very frequently in southern Italy. So it's a lot more rustic. I'm gonna chop them up here. So I'm just gonna grab them in a bunch. I'm not looking for perfect, beautiful symmetry. So I'm gonna go across once that way. I'm gonna turn my pile. I'm gonna go across once the other way. Next, I'm gonna take my goat cheese, and what I'm gonna do is just start to crumble it a little bit with my knife. Tip with my Parmesan cheese. I always wanna use a microplaner, because in this case, I'm looking to actually melt or emulsify that Parmesan cheese within my sauce. So it's gonna become part of the sauce. So when you use that microplaner, it's perfect. Pasta's almost done. We're looking for that al dente, which means essentially to the tooth, which means you want a little bit of a bite to the pasta. I don't want it soggy or mushy. Walnuts have cooled down a bit, so now I'm gonna take my knife here, and we don't wanna make them mush. We still wanna have some body in the walnuts, but we wanna chop them up so they marry beautifully throughout your pasta dish. Yeah, now our pasta is done. First thing we want to do is get the pasta out of the hot water, and now I'm going to strain my pasta and pop it right in my dish. Next thing I'm going to do is take a splash of olive oil, just like a tablespoon or two, Vito and Joe's. I'm going to stir that up, and that way it's not going to stick. Next, I want to add my mascarpone cheese, and I want to add my Parmesan cheese. So again, about 3/4 of a cup. Spread the cheese and spread your mascarpone cheese. You see how it's melting? So I want it to melt with the hot pasta. Now you see how creamy everything is? I'm going to take 1 cup of my pasta water, and I'm going to go ahead and ladle it right in my pasta after everything's melted. And I'm going to give it another stir. And that's going to be essentially my sauce. I'm going to now take my walnuts. I'm going to give that a nice stir. I mean, that's good right there, guys. I mean, literally, that's a dish in itself. Guys, I've got my roasted butternut squash. Gorgeous that looks, right? I've got my parchment paper. I'm just gonna go ahead and pour it right on top. And I'm gonna do a gentle stir in. Last, guys, I'm gonna take my goat cheese. So you'll see what I'm doing here is I'm folding it, so I'm not trying to grab the goat cheese. I'm literally just folding it in. So we got 2 more things and we're done. I'm gonna take my basil, guys. I'm gonna hold back just a little bit for the top. Lastly, I'm gonna give it a nice gentle fold in. Guys, to finish this off, I'm gonna take my microplaner, hit the top with some more Parmesan cheese. And now, guys, I'm gonna finish it off with just a little bit more basil. Is that gorgeous, guys, or what? My favorite time is taste time. All right, so what do you say? So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a serving dish. Yeah, you gotta take a little more Parmesan on there. You've got the gorgeous roasted butternut, right? Pasta's cooked perfect. Basil, Parmesan cheese, and you see that cream sauce that just happens with the mascarpone cheese and the goat cheese, and then the Parmesan Reggiano just marries with that. It just melts. So I'm gonna grab that perfect bite. Here you go, guys. Cooking Italian with Joe. Taste-o-vision, smell-o-vision. The aroma is just fantastic. You get basil, but basil isn't the first thing I get hit with. It's the cheeses, the pasta, the olive oil, the garlic. I mean, you can get a little bit of the shallot. Right away, you're getting the cheeses, the goat cheese, the Parmesan cheese, the mascarpone cheese. I mean, such a delicious sauce. Oh, and you get that crunch of the walnut. And believe it or not, the basil comes in at the end. It doesn't come in the beginning. You get that gorgeous sweet flavor of that butternut squash just comes in. The marriage of flavors just gets better and better as you keep chewing. Shallots are just perfect. I'm just getting that last bite of the basil. It goes so perfect. That the grassy aromatic herb goes so perfect with the walnuts and the cheeses and the pasta. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me in my kitchen today. What a good time, right? Now remember, hit that red subscribe button and the notification bell. Make you part of the family. Hit the link above or below. Grab yourself a bottle of Vito and Joe's extra virgin Italian olive oil. We'll drop ship it right to your front doorstep. Truly a trip to Italy right in a bottle. And guys, my most important tip every week, I always save it for last. Couple of times a month, get around the table with your family, your mom, your dad, your uncles, your grandparents. If you're still with them, God bless you. And you know what? Celebrate your heritage. And most important, regardless of your heritage, set some traditions on a regular basis. They'll last you a lifetime. I know they did for me. Hey guys, from my kitchen to yours, until next week, mwah, buon appetito.